So I just pulled Lynx out of my animal deck. You know what Lynx stands for? It's discernment. And dude, I'm thinking that you might have a similar calling to the one that I've just been walking through, trudging through the last few years. That's the development of discernment. It's so key that we develop our discernment, strengthen it by using it like a muscle that we flex, and that we calibrate it, that we tune it into the truth, make sure it's working. That's really important to get your links on, to get your discernment skills on. If you have been a victim of childhood abuse that was like particularly severe, often what happens is something gets cut off between you and your gut instinct, your discernment, your ability to discern truth from false and good guy from bad guy, right? It gets skewed because they abuse us in this area where we have to shut down our discernment, because our initial response to an abuse is like, no, stop. But we're a child, so it doesn't stop. It keeps happening. So what do? We have to submit to it, allow it to happen to us. And in so doing, you have to sever this very spiritual connection that we have with ourselves. And I go like this because it's up and down the spine from the pelvis up to the crown of the head. It's the central line. Chi runs up and down it. Cerebrospinal fluid runs up and down the spine and through the brain, washes it with nutrient dense water. Okay. The central line is incredibly important from a physical, biological perspective and from an energetic one. So you can actually tune into it. See, I'm going inside and I'm literally imagining that line and imagining how energy pulls up from Mama Earth, goes out my head to Father Sky, energy pulls down from Father Sky and goes down to Mama Earth. I am running energy up and down through me all the time. It also goes around in a torus shape, up and down and around, okay? So when you tune into that, you get in tune with your true self, your high self, your soul. And that is how we can get in touch with truth. And I don't just mean my truth, I mean like universal truth. For example, let's say some guy at the bar is asking you out. You're trying to discern, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Is he safe or not? Inside yourself, deep in there, there is a universal truth you have access to. Like, there is some truth about this guy. Is he safe? Yes or no? The problem is you may not be able to access that truth within yourself because your life here has socialized you, conditioned you, and traumatized you into being this person who's not really in tune with that part of themselves. You can't hear it, you can't connect to it, which is why I talk about tune in, because it's so essential that we constantly tune into ourselves. Tune in. The breath is the first and most powerful key to tune into yourself. Closing your eyes really helps because you're cutting off other sensory stimuli so that you can sense more inside yourself. Now, if you were doing this your whole entire life, well, because like your parents and your teachers and your society trained you to honor the inside feelings and to like constantly work with them, which they teach us the opposite. They train us to be focused on the external world, school, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, if you had been trained to be in touch with this, when the guy comes up to you at the bar and asks you out, you would have an internal compass that simply felt immediately. It would be like, yes, no, you know? It works for differently for different people. Maybe your heart feels like a tight knot when it's a no, but it feels like a lovely open flower when it's a yes. Or it leans to the left when it's a no, and it leans to the right when it's a yes. Some kind of somatic sensation. Or some people hear stuff, I think. I don't hear like a God voice saying yes or no, but I get truth through somatics. So I had to develop my capacity to even sit and feel my own somatic feelings because when you're traumatized from a little girl age, you learn to not want to sit with the feelings in your body because they have planted toxic feelings inside of you with the energy of rape. It just leaves you existing for the rest of your life with a very uncomfortable energy in your body and in your energy field around you. So, unfettered, a human would just feel that guy walk up to them and it'd be a yes or no. It would be an innate knowing. But most of us are going to be in the brain and the conditioning and also how our trauma drives us. So let's say you've been lonesome because of a breakup, you're going to be driven to kind of want to see this guy as positive because, hey, I've been lonesome since the breakup. It would be great if this guy was a positive guy. So you kind of want it to be good. So that skews your ability to hear the truth that you would have access to if you weren't being driven by motivations such as curing loneliness that happened from trauma or whatever. So we want to develop our discernment, y'all. It's incredibly important. Everybody can continue to fine tune and develop theirs, but some of us, we're going to have to develop ours from nothing. Like some people have some discernment and they just need to fine tune it, but like me, I've discovered that mine had been destroyed, twisted, skewed, thrown off. So I didn't get to depend on it. And consequently, I can't even speak there right now. Yeah, I've developed other ways to survive, but for some years, it was my goal to develop discernment because I recognized I didn't have it yet. And I was like, shit, I got to get that. Got to get my Lynx on. So, homie, I want you to get your Lynx on. You're going to need to be able to look beyond the immediate appearances. So the guy that comes up, asks you out, great smile, cute, funny, come on line or whatever, that's working. So your mind is saying, yes, seems good, seems good. But you got to go in and sense it. But if you know that you're kind of blind to your own gut, to your own heart, that you can't sense it, then dude, honestly, for a period of time in your life, it's going to be good for you to just kind of pause until you get your discernment. Pause as much as you can. Hold like yourself in a safe zone as often as you can. Don't take risks. Don't do new things that really are questionable because you just don't know yet. You can't, like, I want you to trust yourself because that is how you're going to get discernment. So I don't want to say you can't trust yourself. But dude, some of us have been traumatized so bad that in a way, like, I couldn't trust myself in some ways. Luckily, my heart is so pure and so full of energy that has driven me beyond the many errors that were possible for me along the way. You know, my heart like aimed in a pretty good trajectory despite the damage that my discernment system had taken. But there's also some pretty key things that you can see in my history where it's like, I didn't see that danger. Damn it. Like, somebody else might have said no and left, but I didn't leave the room. And then that thing happened to me. You know, I was trying to be polite. I was more focused on not being rude. So I stayed in the room. I just kept overriding my signals that told me I wanted to leave the room. You know what I mean? So those of us that have been traumatized from childhood, we're going to have this ability to override our instincts and not listen to them. I mean, everybody can be driven to do an override. You know, I don't want to break up with my person, so I'm going to override my concerns or whatever. But some of us, dude, like I literally feel like I spent like a few years asking every wise healer, teacher, mentor person about developing discernment and just listening to them. Like, how does it work for them? How does it work for them? And just the whole time. And I would sometimes say back to them, I don't think I can do that. Now, of course, they'd be like, yes, you can do it. But it turns out that they were advising me poorly. Like, it's good to encourage me to trust myself. They'd be like, you're the only one who knows. And that's good because you're putting me in my power rather than disempowering me and telling me I don't know when I'm afraid I don't know. But the funny thing is, like, I was the exception to the rule. They needed to acknowledge my concern. I was repetitively asking how their discernment works and then telling them that it doesn't work that way for me, and telling them that my concern was that, no, there's something different about me that makes what you do for your discernment not work for me. Like, you're saying it and I get it cognitively, but I can't do what you're doing. They'd be like, well, what does it feel like inside? Do you get a yes or a no? What do you mean what it feels like inside? Do I get a yes or a no? Well, I just sit with myself and I just know. And it's like, I don't just know, bro. I spent 3 weeks researching every angle of it, and I've met with the person 3 times, and I've been alert and observant the whole time, but I still don't know. I don't know if this guy's good for me or not. How do I tell? Well, you should ask your heart. Did you pray about it? Well, yeah, but I still don't know. And so finally, my frustration was validated for myself when I found out, oh, these motherfuckers don't know. They don't know that I actually don't know, because they've never been in a body where you can't discern. So they're telling me, just check inside. What does your gut tell you? And I'm like, I don't know. No, just check inside. What does your gut tell you? I don't know. So what it turned out, dudes, was that I needed to heal complex PTSD. I needed to get a bunch of icky stuff out of my system that had been planted there since childhood and repeated again in adulthood. And I needed to hone in on this central line of myself. I needed to learn again and again and again, what does it feel like to come home to center? To go in. What does it feel like in? For the longest time, I didn't even get to know what it felt like inside, because when I would go inside, I would encounter layers of trauma. So, like I said, I spent years clearing this trauma so that I could get to my honest to God energy body and start to feel my own fucking energy body, not feel my energy body, which is contaminated with shit energy that somebody forced on me a long time ago. So it was amazing, truly amazing, how much my discernment is on point these days, to the point that now I trust myself more than any of these motherfuckers. And you can probably sense that I'm like tiny bit resentful. Like, I forgive them and love them, but I'm resentful at their fucking ignorance, that they didn't know what it looks like when a traumatized person's coming to you saying, how do you know your gut instinct? When you tell me you checked with your gut and it told you yes, how did that work exactly? They never once picked up what I was putting down, which was, I don't have that muscle functioning in my body like you do. And they easily knew enough about me that they could have tied 2 and 2 together, like I eventually did for myself. Like, oh, the trauma I endured is literally like cutting me off from my own sense of knowing stuff. Okay. Boom. And then I was like, ease up, pause, and like, don't, date strangers right now, because you don't know fuck all. You don't know shit yet, cat. I mean, that's not exactly true, because I do, looking back on myself, I'm like, damn, you are a wise motherfucker, cat. Like, you've figured out a lot despite the state that you've been in. You have really honed in on the truth this whole time. You've gotten closer and closer and closer to it, despite how they damaged your discernment system. So it's both, y'all. You got to honor your knowing. You got to honor your soul. It is in there, shining like a bright light. It's just fogged up from the many people who scuffed up the glass and made it so the light doesn't shine through there good. But we're going to polish up that glass. We're going to fine tune it. We're going to tune it up. So on today's video for you, literally we tuned in and the universe gave us one message, dude. We only got through one card today. Lynx, discernment, learn it. Oh yeah, some of us have been too traumatized to even have discernment online. So we got to get it online, and then we can fine tune it, calibrate it to get stronger and stronger and stronger. In the meantime, it is helpful for you to just go ahead and know this about yourself. Like, my discernment may not be working properly yet. I have not yet come far enough in the healing journey to where I can trust this thing to like it's speaking to me clearly, but I can't hear it yet because of all the interference between me and my heart, or me and my gut. So again, let me just give you the most essential, quick, basic tool. How do we tune into ourselves? Which is how we're going to heal these traumas in our body, which is how we're also going to discern truth. Well, to tune in, it's breath with the eyes closed, and you want breath that actually moves the belly and chest, okay? So see if you can relax enough to get an expansive chest. Blow out the mouth like you're blowing out of a straw. Why? Because when you do that, you'll notice that you also flex your tummy muscle in. So I want you to blow out like this. So you're using your tummy muscle to push the muscles inward so that it pushes the air up and out your belly, okay? Again. Now you've got it. So on this next one, when you breathe in, you'll notice you get bigger. Watch. Belly and chest getting big. And now I can exhale normal. I don't have to blow through a straw, because it's those first couple straw blows that train your tummy, remind your tummy and ribs to do the work of expanding and contracting. And then you can just chill and keep breathing, okay? Add the eyes closed. As much vocalization as you can add to your exhale, the better. Already you're tuning in. Do you feel that? That's you, babe. That's your body. That's your energy coursing through your body. Now, if you're getting anxious, that's a layer of trauma. They're probably everywhere. Don't fret, don't worry. Just know that your capacity for sitting here with your eyes closed, quietly just sensing your body and your energy, well, your capacity just is small right now. You got to grow it. You got to really grow it. We want to get it big. We want you to lift weights. So do this as often as you can until you've lifted weights enough that you're finally like buff dog. Okay. And then your capacity to sit with your own self gets bigger and bigger. Then you're more capable of removing these traumas. And I'm going to recommend that you like hire a coach or a spiritual consultant like me, or someone that can sit with you while you face what's in here. Because if you do have real serious trauma in there, it's going to be real serious feelings that are going to bubble up when you get quiet and sit with yourself. Meditation, some people say I can't do it. That's why. Because when it's not just your mind is busy. The mind's busy because it ain't going to focus on what's uncomfortable in the body. And if there's something deeply uncomfortable, deeply you don't want to think about, your body and brain's going to do plenty to keep you from ever thinking about that. And that's why you haven't ever gotten there. And that's why I'm starting on the basic step of just, can you take one breath with some expansion, with some vocalization. I forced that one to show you, but you get it. You want to expand, you want to vocalize. If you can do one, my homie, then later today you can do two, and later today you can do three. Keep it at that. If you can get 3 long, deep, conscientious breaths in, dude, you win. Call it good. Come back in 10 minutes or an hour and do it again. 3 breaths. We just want to start training your capacity to sit with your own feelings, okay? That's how we're going to tune you up. Much love, my friend. Take care. Thanks.